Joe Burrow makes it clear Tee Higgins is a priority for the Bengals. We'll talk about this coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Well. Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. How you guys doing? How you doing, partner? You doing good? Doing good, Zoom? How you doing? How you doing, my boy?
Hey, that's the funniest opening of all time. I'm gonna say, well, what do we have here? The T traders are not living it up today.
Yes, sir. This is
Not
gonna be
well.
it's gonna
Bro,
be a jam-packed show. Zimmy, how you doing, my boy?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like we got a lot of good news. I think a lot of things are happening around, Bengals world that I think are positive for most. I think most people are really happy about the move.
Nah, for sure. Definitely. It started off as a kind of a slow news day. Then there was an article that came from ESPN Plus that kind of sparked some things, and we'll talk about it coming up. So there's been a Tee Higgins update. He's left Dave Mulugheta. That'll be something that we're getting into. We also had some comments from Joe Burrow about T once more. We kind of got into a little bit of those after the Monday Night Football game. There's been more stuff. So we'll get into some of those quotes. And of course, the Bengals got a game to play this weekend. So we'll talk about the Bengals versus Titans. We'll preview that coming up next. All right, man. It's finally been officially reported. Tee Higgins has left David Mulugheta. He has left Athletes First. He's currently mulling over a new agent change. This is very telling, right? Because you said, "What's up?"
Mulling over Mulugheta.
He's mulling over Mulugheta. He's looking to make an agent change. This is very big and very important because David Mulugheta is considered one of the best agents in the league, right? There wouldn't be a reason for T leaving Mulugheta outside of it being that he didn't feel like Mulugheta wanted to get a deal done with Cincy, and Mulugheta didn't agree, and they didn't agree to, I guess, the certain terms or parameters that Cincy may have. So, in order for him to feel like Cincy is a viable option, he probably needed to separate himself from David Mulugheta. That's not to say that, T's not going to get paid, but with them playing kind of hardball with each other, them kind of being oil and water, I think the likelihood of something getting done was with Mulugheta as the agent was low. Now I feel like this increases his opportunities of this getting done. But what were your thoughts? I know we knew about this stuff earlier in the day. We were able to kind of confirm it pretty quickly. But what were your thoughts where we were able to learn that he moved on from David Mulugheta?
I think there's a lot of different things that have happened. Some of the reasons that you just said, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about anything. This is all speculatory. I'm just talking on the situation that is at hand. I got to make that clear because we got a lot of trolls. But but I don't know. I'm in a good mood, but it's just funny. It's a lot of stuff that I'm reading that is like hilarious that people are like scrambling around, like trying to get rid of all their it's never gonna happen, and they're like, I want to trade T. Like,
you said that they making they scrubbing them tweets down. They getting them off of there.
They scrub it down because y'all know I'm a receipt king. So yeah, they scrubbing down.
Your receipt folder is starting to drop. The number is changing.
It look a little different, So we got a little team of receipt. So yeah, it's looking a little different. But I will say that I thought that some of his comments coming into camp, I thought they kind of were alarming to me when he first came in and he signed a tag so fast. His first day back, I remember them asking him in the locker room, like, like, what made you do it? He was like, I'm a football player, and and I, kind of like he was like annoyed with the outside world and stuff. Me knowing the details of like how most of these agents work and how they try to put the press on people, I always felt like Tee Higgins did the Bengals did them a favor by coming in like that. And I don't know if our fan base really caught or like really appreciated the fact that most guys wouldn't have came in at the beginning of camp like that. Even Bates came towards the end, and even that was like some dudes don't even do that. So the tag situation can get kind of tricky because there's a lot of risk involved. And I always thought that T did us a solid by doing that. And I just know that the big time, agent that David Mulugheta is, I don't think that that's a play if I were in his shoes that I would want my client to do. I always felt like that. And then when you saw the posters of, T, like with his marketing agency not too long ago, I thought that was pretty alarming. But, now that, things have changed and have been reported. And like you said, we knew some stuff, kind of going on. But I think it changes how confident I think Joe Burrow feels about getting the deal done. Because as people know, the Bengals have never got a deal done with David Mulugheta. And I don't think, that their philosophies match. And I don't think that makes David Mulugheta a less than agent. I don't think that makes the Bengals less than. They have their ways that they write up their agreements and contracts. And you'll see clients sometimes like a TJ Watt that have gone into their front office. The Steelers and the Packers are very similar to the Bengals in terms of contracts. When they were faced to go say, hey, are y'all going to play Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown? They picked Ben. So let's not forget and act like the Bengals are the only front office that still operate under the same kind of contract, structures. And I just never thought that their ideologies on contracts really matched up. So to have him as the agent, then, I understand it, but it doesn't take anything away from David Mulugheta or the Bengals to me. And now that he's with his new agency, who the Bengals have done deals with, it looks a little bit brighter on this side. So, I feel like
I don't think it's official yet that T has decided on what agency he's going with, but a lot of people are thinking that it could possibly be CAA. But you kind of mentioned Joe Burrow making some quotes and stuff. They asked him if the Tee Higgins deal was not done, how would that make you feel? He said, I would be very disappointed. He also said T is a need, not a luxury or anything. T is a need. Very strong words coming from Joseph Lee Burrow. Look, man, T has always been a need for this team for me. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point. The way that the Bengals operate and the way that they have been so dangerous is because they have wide receiver 1A and wide receiver 1B. And how can you stop these guys? And they thrive off of each other. It's a situation where they play off of each other. It's a situation where they open things up. It's a situation where they feed off of each other. If one is killing you, the other one can as well. And it's pretty much nothing that you can do to really stop these guys once they get going. He is a need. I kind of always have talked about it. I get it. Some people like defense. That's cool. To me, it's almost like I compare it to the NBA, man. Like the NBA now, you got to be able to shoot threes. You can't play like this is 90s basketball anymore. You can't approach it with mid-range masters and stuff like that. And I'm a fan of the 90s, right? But you just can't play that type of style right now. Like it was too physical. They call fouls and people flopping stuff now. And to me, that's where the NFL is. The NFL is a passing league now. Like the whole 2000s Ravens offense, and like those days are over. Those days are over, bro. Like people are airing the ball out. You gotta have star wide receivers. You gotta have star quarterbacks, and that's just where it is right now. The rules favor it. Everything favors that type of style of football. So yes, T is a need. If you can have good wide receivers and good quarterbacks in this league, you need to have them to be able to compete. Even if you talk about a team such as a Pittsburgh Steelers, right? they tried the formula of not having those aspects of the team, and it didn't work out for them. Now they got a George Pickens. Now they go and get a Russell Wilson to try to better those positions up, because you guess what? They weren't being able to compete with just having a defensive minded team without the weapons on the outside to be able to compete there. So for me, it is a need, and it makes sense that your quarterback wants to keep his best receivers and the good ones. Yes, you can draft a receiver. Yes, you can get one here or there. There's a lot of receivers, but how many Ja'Marr Chases are there? How many Tee Higgins are there? How many are there Justin Jefferson? Like, there's a reason that these guys get paid what they do, and it's very similar to the elite quarterbacks. Like, yeah, you can go out and you can get a Derek Carr, but is he the same as Joe Burrow? No, it's not the same. So to me, T is a need, and I stand behind what Joe Burrow was saying. How did you feel about Joe Burrow's comments about T?
I feel like Joe Burrow knows better than anybody, right? I think even if you're a person that doesn't feel like Tee Higgins should get extended, right? You can feel however you want to feel. I'm not here to say whatever. I think everybody could have a plan on what they think the Bengals should be constructed at. But ain't nobody got better insight than Joe Burrow, right? So right. It's just like, like us in our group chats, it might be some Bengals legends in there, or it might be, and we were having this conversation the other day. I was like, when such and such, like when a Willie talk or somebody like, I shut up and I listen. This is a moment where I feel like Bengals fans, like, you might say, yeah, I need defense, I need it, but Joe Burrow's telling you exactly what I want. The leader of like what I in my mind, he's like the leader of the free world. He can get us out of whatever you thinking it has held the Bengals down for so long. You said that the Bengals ain't got no rings. You said that you've gone to school and they tease you for your Bengals jacket. You said that they ain't do nothing that they ever wanted to do, that you ever wanted to do, or any of these different things. And there's one guy named Joe Burrow is emerged as one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. When he speaks and he says what he wants, I listen. That doesn't mean you have to listen, but I'm going to listen to Joe Burrow. I feel like the unorthodox conversation that lives on for all eternity, the conversation that we had about Penei Sewell versus Ja'Marr Chase, it lives on forever in a new landscape of football where marketing and the skill positions are glamorized to us all day, 24/7 on Prime, whatever, ESPN, whatever. It's a reason why wide receivers cost a lot more. It's a reason why. It's because the impact of my grandfather's version of football versus the impact of what a wide receiver is today is very different. So a traditional way of thinking from a football sense is always still going to be there. The fundamentals, the trenches, and the blocking and different things. But times have changed, and a lot of things, and a lot of people have adapted. This isn't a conversation to say, well, I value wide receiver more than it. It's a conversation of saying, this is a guy that is leading this team that is playing at an MVP level, playing the best football in football, and he's telling you that he considers this guy, Tee Higgins, a need. He says that I will be very disappointed if I don't get him. He also said that when he's out there, teams can feel him out there. He's talking from the mental part of him and his drop back and his progression. He's telling you how it feels when he's out there in a drop back and saying that I need Tee Higgins out there because it makes my job simpler and easier, which in turn gives us success, which in turn gives you all the things that you want. Joe Burrow is telling you, I need Tee Higgins and he's in need.
And the other thing is this, for the people that were saying, and I'm just giving a live example. I'm not trying to come back on you guys. This is just an example of how things can play out. Some people were saying, Joe can do it all by himself. You don't need to put elite receivers around him. What's going on with Justin Herbert right now, right? Same draft class, a guy that's thrown for 5,000 before, of the same ilk. I don't think he's as good as Joe Burrow. I think he's in the top. He's in my top 5. Everybody keeps talking about that he needs wide receivers now. They got rid of his wide receivers. They got rid of Keenan Allen. They got rid of Mike Williams, right? They got Ladd McConkey. And what was it? Everybody sat there that other night and saw, like, man, this dude needs some receivers. Quentin Johnston ain't enough. And this is a guy that spent the first rounder on Quentin Johnston and went and got a Ladd McConkey. And right now, their passing game is suffering because of it. And that's just because this entire game is built off of passing the football. That's why edge rushers get paid the amount that they are. That's why cornerbacks get paid the amount that they are, because the game has just changed, and that's just what it is.
I can't say this though. I think a counterpoint of someone that probably doesn't want Tee Higgins would go to the fact that, okay, Justin Herbert now has better coaching, which is very fair. And that's another reason why. Well, I mean, in terms of what his record is now, he's like 8-5, right? So, to me, those conversations, I know what you were saying, but a person that doesn't want Tee Higgins is going to sympathize more so with the winning aspect of football, which I do like. I value winning more.
Right.
I just think that all of those things are their own separate like conversations in itself too, because if Justin Herbert has those weapons, I think he would achieve more in a playoff scenario, which I don't. I think he's going to fall flat on his face. Now, we could put that to the test when they get to the playoffs and see. I think he's going to have moments where he needs to have those guys. I think Joe Burrow has gone to the highest mountain, and he knows how he got there, and he knows he probably can't do it with a weak offensive line, and he knows he can't do it with a terrible defense. But also, me and you were having this conversation like a month ago, and we was talking with my boy Bash on there too. Remember, I said, man, Joe Burrow's more like what did I say, Chris Paul, right? And then you came in and was like, bro, he got like Ilgauskas out there. He got Boobie Gibson. And I was like, oh my God.
I said he was LeBron.
Burrow is LeBron. And I don't mean that in terms of championships before somebody takes that out of context. I mean that in the standpoint, if you watch LeBron's career, he's always trying to find the open guy. He's always trying to facilitate first. And then there's always these moments where people are like, bro, you need to go score. And he had moments where he would, deviate to other people and like, just be like, yeah, defer to other people. And, like I feel like Burrow with his mentality is always like that. And that's why the opposition always be like, Burrow wouldn't be nothing without his weapons. There's a little bit of validity to this. I think Burrow knows, like any good business, he knows how to put the best players in a good position to go and win. So if you give him like the best weapons, he's gonna set them up with alley-oop, like he's Karl Malone throwing, like he's John Stockton he's throwing alleys up, Chris Paul's, he's all that. But then Burrow got all that sauce to him too, where he's dunking on people like LeBron, and that's what makes him very special. And I think he's smart enough to identify, just like Tom Brady did later in his career, that I need other guys to help me. That's why I feel like me and you have been on here and we've been talking about this, and I hate this on the timeline, is that for our community, I've been preaching unification the whole time. I get all of my information or the conversations and the stuff that we have, I'm getting it from people, the community. I think a lot of people get on YouTube and just be like, yeah, I know everything. I'm not that guy. I'm reading the comments, and we use that to facilitate our conversations. We just alley-ooping, helping people along the way, trying to do what we can to try to build up the community. And I just feel like Joe Burrow's always like that guy that's always going to try to help whoever he can on a football field go be the best. And he recognizes if he has better weapons, it makes him unstoppable, because he's playing at a level that I don't know. This is the best football I think he's ever played. I really think that he's on point.
And that's what's crazy about it. He's definitely on point for sure. If you guys are joining us, this show is powered by BETUS. We are going to get into our Wincy play of the week later on in the show. But if you are placing any kind of bets, be sure to take advantage of the YouTube 150 promo code. Once again, that's YouTube 150. Allows you to get 150% match on your first deposit with BETUS when you sign up with them. Nobody else, to my knowledge, is doing that. Make sure you take full advantage of that. And you can place your bets there, whether it's going to be with the Bengals, whether it's going to be with the NBA. I do a lot of NBA stuff as well. They've got a lot of different kind of player props that you can do with the NBA as well. You can also mix NBA with the NFL as well. And then some people even throw some other stuff on there. So definitely be sure to check them out at BETUS. Let's see. Do we want to get into the game, or we still want to talk about T? I think we wrapped up the T conversation.
Yeah, I'm good. I feel like we're gonna let it play out. See how this thing goes, man. But
Yeah,
I think everybody, needs to understand that there is a very good chance of all of these things happening, and it's not a crazy scenario. And if you don't follow all of our shows, like even on the last show, I talked about like how the cap and the percentage of the cap and how these things happen. And now you might have a different philosophy on how you think the team could be constructed, but this idea that it's not possible is not true. It's very not true. For a team that has 70 million plus in cap space, it is super false.
yeah. And I mean,
For
we've seen
anybody
it
saying that it can't.
happen. We've seen it happen in other areas, Philadelphia, Miami. Like it's possible, guys, and
And
for sure.
the other part that I was going to say, and the opposition hates this part, a Tee Higgins a Tee Higgins extension, a Ja'Marr Chase extension helps the Bengals cap hit.
Right.
We have to make that very clear. Bengals have already picked up the 5th-year option of Ja'Marr Chase, which is at $21 million. Just quick math. If I gave somebody a $40 million check or whatever, don't y'all feel like that eats up some of that money up front? So then you don't have a $21 million cap hit. The $26 million projected one for a tag for Tee Higgins, you give them money up front, that helps the cap hit. So it doesn't hurt the Bengals. It does make them spend more cash, but the Bengals, as I pointed out, has spent over $100 million on all of these off seasons outside of the last one. So it's not like a crazy scenario. That cap space will allow room for anything you want on defense and anything that you could go get in the draft. I think that Tee Higgins actually helps the conversation of defensive guy wants more defense, because now the Bengals wouldn't have to go to the draft searching for a wide receiver. Now they wouldn't have to be looking for an early running back to pair for Chase Brown. I got Tee Higgins and I got Ja'Marr Chase. Now I'm just filling in the spots like around the offense and upgrading the guard. Outside of that, like what else are you really doing? So I just think that I wish that some of the bigger pages would preach that a little bit more. And I know that the cap conversations kind of throw people off, but it does help to know the ramifications of that, because I think the myth is that if they get paid, the Bengals won't have more money. No, if the Bengals extend and get 2 extensions, it's better than the cap hit hypothetically that you would have if you had a Tee Higgins on a tag or Ja'Marr Chase on a 5th-year option, because the cash advance up front with signing bonus and roster bonuses. Don't want to make this too complicated, but it would help the case, like not hurt it.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, Bengals got a game to play this week, right? Bengals versus Titans. Actually going to be a homecoming for Tee Higgins. He's from Tennessee. So with this one starting off, this is a pretty good Tennessee defense, right? There's not much, I think, on the offensive side that they are super excited about, but defensively, some old faces in new places. They got Cheeto back out there. They've got, some of these defensive linemen that Joe Burrow is familiar with that we have seen before. With this one, I just feel like it's a game that the Bengals offense can continue to establish themselves, and defensively, they should be able to slow down Will Levis. And I think this Titans offense. How do you see this game kind of going, bro?
I do think that after all the Joe Burrow comments and in the performance of T last week, I think that they're going to feature Tee Higgins in this upcoming game. I really do. Like, is that crazy to think that?
Nah, not at all.
I think because of all the conversations, Joe is a snarky kind of guy, and he's got a weird way of, you know what I'm saying? He's got a weird humor to him, and it's like you have to understand that humor to understand, like, yeah, I'll show y'all. Y'all want to see another joke or something y'all think is funny? I'm going to throw the Tee Higgins 10 times in this game. I think he'll go. I mean, they really playing with house money every single week because they're kind of out. I mean, they got a 3% chance to make the playoffs, but they're kind of out of it. And I think, like, everybody's going to be set on, we're going to take out Ja'Marr Chase, and we're not going to allow him to get a triple crown. So, Ja'Marr going to get his no matter what. It's like when Ja'Marr get 100 yards, it's the lightest 100 yards you've ever seen. Like, that's nothing for him.
Right.
I think that they're going to go to Tee Higgins like and feature him, and he'll have like those single coverages, and it'll be a great reunion to be able to see like Cheeto back now, and some of the guys, Tyler Boyd, he's back. He was out for a little bit, so there are some guys, and Callahan had some comments about Joe Burrow today being a Hall of Famer and all these different things, and Joe Burrow said, yeah, he's probably right, and that's that 9 that where he be talking that talk. So I think that the Bengals are going to go out there and make a point and say we're going to do what we want to do, and we're seeing how that works all season. It could cook them, but it could also get Joe Burrow 400 yards and he go crazy. And it's just the nature of the beast until they fix up what they need to do in the all season on defense. It's just this is what it is. But I think the performance that they had, at least pass wise, I think was encouraging last week. And I think that Spears, the running back for the Titans, I would put more emphasis on that, giving that Doddle or whatever dude name is. I can't even pronounce dude name for the Cowboys, the running back.
Cowboys went for $130.
Yeah, went for $130. All of my meetings will be about that. Like we need to not let that happen again. And then also guys like Marco Wilson and stuff, I want to see them get more snaps. So that's it's a lot of good storylines coming from it because we're meeting up with some familiar guys that were with the team. But I think they come out there and do their thing.
Yeah, man. I think one of the matchups that I want to see. I was a J.C. Latham guy coming in from the draft. Him versus Trey Hendrickson. That's going to be must-see TV. Joseph Osai, 3 sacks in the last 3 games. Him being able to take advantage of the right tackle that they have over there. I think that's going to be huge in this one. Tyler Boyd against Mike Hilton. That's going to be interesting to see, I think, in this game as well. And then you kind of talk about some of the receivers on the outside. Josh Newton gave up a touchdown last week. Can he have a bounce back week against Calvin Ridley? You kind of talked about Tajay Spears, Pollard. They got to slow that run game down. On the other flip side of things, we know about Jeffrey Simmons, right? Him against Cordell Volson scares me, to be honest. I'm not even going to lie to you. Cordell Volson, how is he going to manage up against this interior? Devondre Sweat, another guy that I wanted from the draft.
I'm more worried about him than Simmons, but I'm telling you.
Like, can they continue to establish the run with Chase Brown? We saw them kind of do that. Devondre Sweat is a guy that could wreak havoc on that. You got Harold Landry, Sebastian Joseph Day, like you kind of mentioned, our guy Cheeto, which we all know Cheeto kind of sharpened his skills and became, in my opinion, one of the best corners in the North, practicing day in and day out against Ja'Marr Chase and Tee Higgins. So what is he going to try to feed to their defensive coordinator about ways that they can try to slow them down? That's something that you have to see. Funny to see the DoorDasher name is Worley, Daryl Worley. I was wondering where Ravens fans told me he was a DoorDasher, but apparently he's a starting safety for the Tennessee Titans. So going to be interesting to see what they do there. If Yoshi could take advantage, if Gesicki could take advantage. I'm hoping that they do all of those. And then, of course, the number 1 quarterback right now in the NFL. It doesn't matter how you look at it, how you slice it, by any statistic, Joseph Burrow. What is he going to be able to do against this pretty good Tennessee Titans defense? We'll see. The thing that I'm worried about, though, is trenches, man. They got to make sure that they keep these trenches away from 9 in this offense. And I think, like you said, if they feature Tee Higgins, this could be a big game for him. And I'm excited to see what they do, man, for sure. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our Wincy play of the week. Let me get this thing pulled up here. Now, we got some props to go through real quick for this game. I want to
know. Give me the over on T.
Give you the over on T. Let's see. Over under receiving yards, Tee Higgins, 65.5. You taking the over?
All day. Y'all know that's where you're from, right?
Yep. Give us the over. We're definitely going to take that. So let's do a 50 piece on that. All right. The max wager is 34. They're only letting us put 34 on this. That's a strange number, but okay. All right, we just placed that one. They have over under Chase Brown 31.5 on the receiving yards. I don't know, bro. Chase Brown been kind of doing this thing, hasn't he?
I kind of like him on the receiving because I think the run game, Sweat, like you pointed out, at Simmons, like I don't know, bro. Like I like Chase Brown a lot. I believe in them more in the passing game than the run game. I think that if they get stymied up front and they can't find the rushing lanes, I think they'll look to like throw some of those swing passes and variants and screens that they did last week.
Yeah, I agree.
So I kind of like that 31. I think he'll get over that. I don't know.
Yeah, let's take the 31. Let's take the over the 31.5 Chase Brown. Let's go ahead and put something on that. 30 piece on that. So as you guys are hearing, we really like some of these over-unders that they have for this week. Let's see. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. We'll get that one in, but if you guys are listening at home, make sure that you take that Tee Higgins over 65.5 receiving yards, Chase Brown over 31.5 receiving yards. Would you parlay that, or would you just bet them separately?
I thought you were doing those as individuals. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I did them as individuals. I'm asking you though.
Oh yeah, I'll parlay that. Yeah, for sure.
Parlay that, you probably get a little bit of a better return on that. So
you had like 3 legs on that just now, right? You had,
yes, sir.
Yeah. That's the sweet spot for me. I don't like all them crazy. Man, it's 8 legs probably about to make me 50 bands tonight. Like, nah, just give me my quick 1,000 and we're gonna cash out and then we're gonna run this thing back tomorrow. So that's kind of my theme.
I'm with you on that though, because like the only way I do the long, like a bunch of legs on a parlay is like heavy favors. I'm talking -500, -600, like
all over the place. Yeah,
them crazy ones, like a -1 something. Nah, I'm not putting that on. Nah, I'm not doing that on there.
yeah.
For sure. Let's get into giving me the game plan, bro. We kind of talked a little bit about it, but this is where we kind of give like our broad synopsis on what the Bengals need to do to get out of here with a victory.
I think that the Bengals need to be assertive and aggressive. I would go for it on 4th downs. I would continue that trend. I would do that. I know it's the Titans, but I want to kill their will. I want to get them and put them into a spot where they feel like they got to do too much, and I think that's advantageous for a Lou Anarumu defense that's just coming off a good game. So I just think like aggressively, we were talking about like how 2022 went and how we would get out on teams and different things like that. I imagine that they should come out with a game plan that's similar to that because what I think wouldn't be in their best interest is to be in a close game and be in long third and longs, and then you got those big boys running at you and those pass rushers and Harold Landry and all them coming around the corner with a backup tackle. Like, and that it's one of the things that people say currently right now is like, should you just sit, Burrow? And I'm like, nah, you shouldn't. But that doesn't mean just drop back 50 something times either. So like, in order to do that, to me, it's like get out on them, and then later in the game you could slow it down, screen, kill it, like eat up all the clock and get into like what you want to do with Chase Brown and then get Khalil Herbert some touches in there. That will be the flow of the game for me, how I would come. I would start off aggressively and and try to get myself a good lead. And then from there, let Lou cook Will Levis and then from there, work off of those things and try to slow that game down towards the end 3rd, 4th quarter and get into the driver's seat of the game. That's what I would do offensively. Defensively, no big runs. If you get a guy dead to rights like we had this past week, make sure you just get the tackle, play sound. I don't think that they're going to do anything that would threaten like what we're trying to do. You saw Marco, you saw CTB, and a lot of man concepts, and I feel confident that they could do that against this wide receiver group. And if you lose a couple reps, it is what it is. I'm not mad at that. I'm not afraid to go man with them, and I think that it'll put them in some spots where we just see who, like we just put our talent out there and see what we could do with the guys that we got. And I understand the defense has had a rough season, but I do think the talent from those guys is still there, and I think they're in the evaluation process to begin with. So I want to see who can run with him, who can run with Ridley. Like I need to see that in the middle of us playing this game too. And I think a lot of that information is going to be good for us going into the draft.
Yeah, I think we need to play complementary football. All sides playing together, offense helping out the defense helping out the offense, special teams helping each other out in terms of field position. Field position, I think, is going to be an important one in this one, taking advantage. And then also, I think trying to take the crowd out of this game, man. This is a road game. Bengals have to try to get out there early and get some of the momentum to take the crowd out of it. Now, I'm not sure how much the Titans crowd has to cheer for. This has been a rough season for them. But obviously, you want to make sure it's as quiet as possible with a defense that's talented, with a defensive line like that, because the more confusion the offense has in terms of communication, the more of the probability of opening up those rushing lanes for these edge rushers is going to happen. So I think, number one, make sure that you prioritize protecting number 9. You're only going to go as far as you can with that protection against him. He's dealing with a slight knee injury, right? That was listed on the injury report. So I'm not sure if it's going to affect his mobility or not, but you got to protect 9, keep that pocket clean, help him out, because that is a talented front over there. And if you aren't able to do that, that could spell some issues for you. So I think that you also need to utilize the run game. I get that they're good against the run. However, you still need to put in some of those slip screens and things like that we saw last week with Chase Brown. Continue to make Chase Brown a part of this game plan and utilize Tee Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase. I think this needs to be a game where you move both of them around and try to get the most that you can out of them. And then Mike Gesicki, I know Divine's in the comments here. Mike Gesicki in the red zone is always a major key. I think that they've seen dividends pay off from that, utilizing that in the past. And then, of course, getting Yoshi and those guys involved from that standpoint. Defensively, got to be able to contain this offense that hasn't been super successful at all. They've been pretty bad this season. I think that you need to make Will Levis make some bad decisions. He's shown that he can turn the ball over. You've got to force him into those situations and take advantage of it. And from a special team standpoint, I talked about field position, but you got to also make your field goals. So if K. York can continue to bring that momentum with him coming into this game and taking some of those shots in the spots where the Bengals need them, where the offense may follow up short or the defense may need a field goal just to get a breath here and there instead of it being a 3 and out. That's something that needs to happen from that standpoint. I think the Bengals can do that. I think they can do it without turning the ball over. But I think the Bengals can do that and try to get out of here with a win. And that's the game plan I think it would take for them to get out of there with a W.
Hey, I read the comment. Have you ever seen these the dudes, the End Zone Boys?
I have not seen the End Zone Boys.
I'm gonna show you some of their videos. Now I pride myself on being a very good trash talker. The End Zone Boys are some of the most. I forgot all about that. They're some of the most elite trash talkers. I'm giving them like this crazy like shout out, so everybody about to go look them up, but they be talking some trash that you've never seen before. It is hilarious, bro. So yeah, them talking trash to Ja'Marr Chase might actually work in our favor.
Okay, nah, that's dope. But yeah, I think that's how we pull off the win. Was there any thing else that you wanted to talk about before we get out of here, bro?
The other thing, Bill Belichick, he's gone, guys. And I'm very sad, not because he's not a Bengals coach. Well, I am sad about that, but I am a Wolfpack, and I hate the Tar Heels. So now Bill Belichick is an op to me now. So Bill Belichick could kick rocks now. But somebody did ask me a question. They said, now that Bill is gone, what's the plan? But I was on the phone with you, and you asked me, and this is the thing that's been going on. There's a lot of data that's showing Zach Taylor as having one of the best passing attacks in all of football. Yeah. Like in all of football. Like not just EPA per play, like in pure dropbacks, his offense, whether you put most of it on Joe Burrow or not. First question is the question you asked me. Would you keep, if you knew that the only way you could sign Tee Higgins, would you keep Zach Taylor? Would you do it?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. And the reason why is it's Tee Higgins, bro. Like, do you know how much of a flex that is to be like, I'm targeting Ja'Marr Chase and then I'm targeting Tee Higgins and like they just complement each other so well, bro. Like they're two completely different type of receivers, but they complement each other well.
A peanut butter jelly sandwich, like without the jelly, is just like, I don't know. Like I couldn't do that. I need a
Just
little
a
bit
dry ass sandwich.
of our offense without one or the other. Like it could work because I'm not gonna be hungry no more. But it's a dry ass sandwich, bro.
Yeah, you gonna need some water for that Zach Taylor offense, my boy.
We gonna have to call it. We should name this the dry ass sandwich episode because I honestly feel like a lot of people don't understand the concept of like I don't care. Like, bro, Ace one of the main people that be a big proponent of like enhancing the trenches. Us getting Tee Higgins and why the ops still coming here, why they're watching this show right now is because they like, is them Bengals still? Are they still going? They're gonna be able to sign Tee Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase. Why do you think they saying that? They don't want you to have them two dudes together.
Like they don't want to have to deal with them for the next however seasons. It's like when, to me, I think it's the offensive version, and I'm gonna pull from the Ravens. Or like when the Ravens had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, like you wanted one of them to be gone. Like you were like, all right, let's get Ed Reed up out of there. Right. Ed Reed gone. All right, bet.
That's
perfect.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, now somebody will be like from a talent standpoint.
Like, bro, we're just saying from like from a talent standpoint. I'm not sitting here saying that they just are both future Hall of Famers, right? But it's just for the analogy, man. Like there was nobody I feel like I celebrated more being off of the Ravens than Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Like I wasn't like Terrell Suggs, not really. Like it wasn't like, it was like, all right, cool.
A lot of it too is like, I think sometimes people will put in what they like, they'll put in their own part of the paragraph that they want to do to create the essay like of that we're writing as this Bengals team. It's like, okay, yeah, I want Joe Burrow and Tee Higgins, and they'll take that and run with it and be like, so they don't care about the defense, they don't care about. This is the main thing that I've been saying, and this is why it's so important. If they were able to sign Tee Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase to an extension, it literally opens up the door for everything that you want defensively. So all the things that you're saying that you want, imagine if they didn't sign Tee Higgins. Then they would have to go in, let's say they do the tag and trade, thing that I've been preaching if they weren't able to get a deal. Say they did that. You still got to go find some type of offensive weaponry. You might say, well, it's easy to get a wide receiver. It wasn't that easy when we got Charlie Jones, Yoshi, and Burton. None of them dudes stepped up. And so now you're looking at that picture. And so now I'm looking at it like, why would I downgrade my offense just to like make a point? Like just lock that in, make that good. And then now we can now all come together and unify our ideas. And whatever you want on defense, you got free reign to go get it. Tee Higgins doesn't hurt that because, as I explained earlier in the show, he's going to lessen the cap hit. So now you have more cap space to do it with. Of course, you would have 21 million less cap space if he was off the team. Yes, I understand that. But the fact that you can have him on the team and I can lower that cap hit is very important for a team that has over $80 million in cap space. Now you can say, well, I want to go to defense and I want to go sign the guy on defense. Who you signing? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you signing a guy that's getting like $30 million like on defense? Like Milton Williams he's going to want a lot of money up front, and that would be a good argument, right? I don't think that Milton Williams would stop Tee Higgins, whatever. But to me, I don't think the Bengals will be big players. Well, shit. If you were to cut rankings, there go your Milton Williams money right there. So we got all this time to talk about that later on. But I did just want to express that. Don't think that because we're excited about Tee Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase that somehow takes away from another group. I think that's people just paraphrasing. if you get them in, the concept is that you'll have more resources that you can allocate to the defense. You'll have more money that you can allocate to the defense. That's the easiest way I can say it. Because if Tee Higgins was gone, we had to go buy like, I don't know, like Keenan Allen. Like, we're gonna be trying to go find like a wide receiver. You still gotta spend money. You still gotta go to the draft. You had to allocate to try to replicate or supplement what you just lost. If you got Tee Higgins, guys like me, just like, I don't care. Like, y'all could go do. Y'all got all that money. Y'all got $70 million left. All right, bet. Spend it all on defense. I got everything I need, and that's the concept.
For sure. Speaking of the concept, let's talk about the concept of Midwest Best Barbecue.
G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. It's the X to the Z, M to the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTV did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zimby stay blazing. And T game be smooth as ice. Ja'Marr making DBs fold. TV got big levels, and now you already know. It's so pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim. M to the B's.
Shout out to Tim and Nicole over at Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. They're going to get you right. They got that brisket. They got those chicken wings. They got you covered. Mac and cheese, Arnold Palmer's, brisket, fries, you name it. They got it over at Midwest Best Barbecue. The Grippo wings, yes, Sirski, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Make sure you stop in and let them know Ace and Zim sent you. Make sure that you go there on your game day, especially this weekend, it's a road game. Go in, tap in with them, watch the game, pull up a seat, get some good food, and enjoy your time at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Can I say that another reason why everybody should go to Midwest Best Barbecue? Tim, the owner, texted us earlier today all over the Tee Higgins stuff. Hey, boys, what's going on? Like, don't you want to go eat with people that really rock with you and are on the same page as you? That's how I look at, them. Like, you could go spend your money anywhere, but these are really diehard Bengals that got the best food in the world too. So if you need another reason to go to Midwest Best, like, they actively 1000% is all Bengals like all day. And I don't know, that makes me want to support them even more.
Nah, for sure, bro. For sure. Definitely. But as you guys know, Wincinnati Podcast is live every Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you tap in with us. Make sure that you guys leave us a review in the iTunes, Stitcher store, wherever it is that you get your podcast. That helps us improve our rankings in the podcast. Also helps other Bengals fans find this podcast. So we appreciate you guys for doing that. Definitely be sure to check out Jake and Mon's Bengal Posts. They do a great job. Make sure that you check them out. We did a roundtable Monday. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen, check that out. I'm pretty sure they're going to give their thoughts on the Tee Higgins situation. So make sure that you guys tap in. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wincinnati Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.